For faculty, supporting Capstone multilingual writers. Doctoral multilingual writers, who they are and how they are unique. So who are Capstone multilingual writers at Walden? Well, they have a large variety of backgrounds, just like all students at Walden. They could be residents or citizens of the United States, but who speak English as a second or third language. And anecdotally, based on my experience at Walden residencies and capstone intensives, this actually seems to be a significant part of our doctoral Walden student population. They could also be international students living abroad. We've found that it's difficult to obtain data about who exactly Walden capstone multilingual writers are. Walden tracks the international status of students, but not necessarily language backgrounds. And like I previously mentioned, Walden appears to have a large domestic multilingual population, so tracking methods might not really work well for them. Students might not choose to self-identify as multilingual for a variety of reasons. The first one is power. Which language has the most perceived power? Is it English or their native language? The next is identity. How does a student self-identify? Do they identify as a native speaker or not? The third is expectation. What expectations does being multilingual bring? And the fourth is perceived language ability. How confident is a student in their language use? That said, over the past few years, we've sent some follow-up surveys to students attending capstone intensives and to students who have participated in our chapter edit service. And on each of these two surveys, there is a question pertaining to multilingual status. To break this down a bit more, of the students who elected to fill out the post-capstone intensive survey, 59% self-identified as multilingual. Of the students who filled out the post-chapter edit survey, 38% of students indicated that they are multilingual. I want to emphasize again here that these are self-elected student data and do not reflect the overall total number of students we've worked with in capstone intensives or in chapter edits or at the form and style review. But without hesitation, I would say that a large percentage of our capstone students at Walden are indeed multilingual writers. So one common question I'm asked by both faculty and other editor staff is how doctoral multilingual students are different than native speaking English students and how or even if they should approach these students differently. And here's what I would say. First, it seems that the aspects of writing a dissertation or of capstone writing aren't really unique to multilingual and international students. But the cost to the multilingual or international writer might be higher, both in terms of finances and in terms of the challenges that they face. And the intensity and the co-occurrence of these challenges that are in combination with limited linguistic resources in English can make the task of writing a capstone document even harder. In other words, all students may struggle with similar issues, but adding another language or adding a new culture to the mix often amplifies these challenges for multilingual students. To look at this a little bit more in depth, in 2016, Rogers et al. Presented data from a multi-method study that they did on the topic of dissertation writing and supervision. They highlighted the challenges that advisors and dissertation writers experience as they negotiate the dissertation process. They found that there is a clear difference in the order of what native English speakers and what multilingual writers perceived as the most difficult. Roger et al.'s survey was given to 428 doctoral students, 66 of whom were second language students. They also conducted 24 advisor interviews from 22 different programs, in addition to semi-structured doctoral student interviews and focus groups. There was a total of 23 interviews and focus groups, including 6 second language learners. So what exactly was different? They found that native English writers indicated that finding the time to write was their biggest challenge. Meanwhile, multilingual writers indicated that translating ideas into written form was their biggest challenge. Also, multilingual writers indicated higher levels of difficulty across all survey items than native English speakers. One additional notable result is that they found mismatches around advisors' expectations and assumptions of what students should know and be able to do, and what students said they needed to learn to successfully complete their dissertation. Roger et al.'s survey asked students to identify the challenges that are listed here on this slide. This is the order of what multilingual dissertation writers found to be the most challenging. Number 1, translating ideas into written form. 2, choosing the most appropriate words. 3, adapting writing to expectations of audiences. 4, using the right tone. 5, planning and pre-writing. 6, organizing chapters and sections. 7, finding time to write. 2 items tied for number 8, choosing sentences and paragraphs with effective transitions and revising major sections. 2 items also tied for number 9, integrating source material and incorporating feedback. Number 10, knowing when to quote. 2 items tied for number 11, using appropriate punctuation and writing grammatically correct sentences. Number 12, summarizing and paraphrasing. 13, crafting clear sentences. 14, editing and proofreading. And finally, 15, revising sentences. So what? Well, focusing on students' unique needs, connecting with them with empathy, and understanding where they are coming from and how to best support them relates directly back to Walden's emphasis on creating a community of care. In addition, being a proactive faculty member or a proactive committee can really help alleviate some of the unique challenges for multilingual doctoral students to help them succeed. For more supports, I suggest visiting and bookmarking the Faculty Support for Working with Capstone Multilingual Writers page, located on the Office of Research and Doctoral Studies website under Form and Style Resources. I've included the URL on this slide. This page contains information on Capstone Multilingual Student Writing Support Services that you can share with your students. There's also a series of smart guides for faculty, which are PDF how-to guides to help faculty supporting Capstone Multilingual writers. In addition, there are other videos like this one on different aspects of supporting Capstone Multilingual writers. And this final slide contains the full references for research that I referenced in this video. I hope you find this information helpful as you continue to support Capstone Multilingual writers at Walden.